So in Srimad Bhagavatam Mahatmyam, chapter 3, we see the end of Bhakti Devi's sorrows that are there, Bhakti Kashta Nivartanam, the troubles of Bhakti Devi come to an end. So finally, the story of Bhakti, Jnana, Vairagya that comes to an end here. That is basically her suffering comes to an end. Further, now chapter number 4 talks about a story of a Brahmana, of a person called Atmadeva. Now, in the initial part, of course, Suta, who's there, he describes about the form of the Lord, how there are many devotees who are there, how the people of Vaikunta are there, how friends or you can say bhaktas like Uddhava, and how they had developed, you can say, the bhakti that they had towards the Lord was something which cannot be described in words. So basically, it was sheer bhakti which they had and nothing else in their mind. And again, the description of the Lord is given how the Lord wears a pitambaram. Then immediately when you look at the Lord, the form of the Lord, that is the people of Vaikunta and also bhaktas like Uddhava also, whenever they saw the Lord in front of them, they got attracted towards the Lord. So this is nothing but this is how people developed bhakti towards the Lord. And now, for people like us, though physically we have not seen the Lord with our naked eyes, still this amount of bhakti develops. Now, you see, whenever we worship the Lord, obviously bhakti develops in us, right? Now, whenever we are chanting Bhagavatam or you do any puja the karmas also, it's not that we do blindly. We don't do things blindly. Automatically, some bhakti comes. But when you look at a picture of the Lord, you feel that, okay, this is my Lord also, or it can be anything. There are certain emotions or feelings that come in. So, just imagine what will happen if I see the Lord with my naked eyes in front of me. So, therefore, for us, for people like us, you look at a photo or you go to a temple, you get those positive vibrations, or you see the idol in your own house, or maybe we chant texts also. Automatically, we get some vibrations that are there. So, just imagine what will happen if we see the Lord in front of us. So, this is nothing but bhakti that is there. Further, now the so therefore in the Kali age, Kali Yugam, there is nothing but only sheer bhakti that should be there towards the Lord, and that is reading through the stories of Srimad Bhagavatam and so on. So, ke vishuddhanti vadantu mahyam saptahayajnena kathamayena. Further, the topic comes at what type of individuals or what type of people they will get purified, it seems, by listening to the Saptaham, that is their Srimad Bhagavata Saptaham. That's when the Kumaras who are there, they continue that those men who have done lot of sinful deeds, let it be knowingly unknowingly, now all of us we do so many wrongdoings also, right? Or there can be someone who forces us to go on the evil path, this that anything can happen for all people, for all such people, and also for holy men also. It's not that only if I do sins I have to do, but in general also whenever we get a chance we can, or rather we should attain a Srimad Bhagavata Saptaham which will help us in getting rid of all our sins. That's when अत्र ते कीर्तयिष्याम इतिहासं पुरातनं यस्य श्रवणमात्रेण पापहानिः प्रजायते. Verse number 15. That's when the Kumaras tell Narada that we'll tell you a story. It is actually a legend where you can relate to, wherein it shows that merely by listening to Srimad Bhagavatam, all sins are gone away. That's when there was a town on the banks of the river Tungabhadra. Now, all the people who were living in their town, they were all very much virtuous, doing whatever their duties also. And in that, there was, in that village, in that place, there was this person called Atmadeva. Now, he was also a very great scholar. He was proficient in the Vedas, scriptures, this, that, a very learned person. Now, and financially also very much stable. So, leading a comfortable life, money, wealth, everything is there, knowledgeable. He was married to a lady called Dunduli. So, she also belonged to a very good family also, but she was a person who always tried to rule over rule over in the sense only I am correct, let the world bow down in front of me. Some of us we have this attitude, right? Or some of us we in our circle we feel no, I am only great, rest everyone around me, everyone is a fool here. But that should actually not happen. When do we realize this is I know 10 things, but when I meet a person who knows 20 more things, automatically pride puffs down. So, and in general, also, even if I know 10 more things than someone else, pride should not come in because there can be things which I don't know. And in general, also, if today you know something, that is again the grace of the Lord, that's the efforts that you put in, no doubt that has come to you. Nothing to be proud about it. But this lady who was there, she belonged to a very good family, everything was there, but still, and like you can say, a very a mature lady and so on, but somehow she had this everything, only I am correct and so on. And she was very much cruel. She engaged in all kinds of gossip, rude behavior, this, that also. And but still, both of them, both the married couple, Dunduli and Atmadeva, both of them, they lived together affectionately. And they had enough, right? Like they had good amount of wealth also, so nicely they were leading a life, but a good house, everything, but could not, they did not have children. That's the reason they were not happy at all. And of course, like many of us do for having a child also, they also did many pujari karmas also. They did a lot of dana dharmam, that is there. Go bhu hiranya vasamsi. Go cows. Bhu land. Hiranyam gold. Vasamsi, that is cloth. Clothes, everything. They distributed to the needy also. And in this manner, what happened is whatever wealth they had, more than half they had spent on this dana dharma. But still, they were not blessed with a son, or na putro na pi putri. They were not blessed with a son also, and this became, you can say, like for any parent, it became a matter of concern for Atmadeva. Dundali was not that much interested, but for Atmadeva, like every parent or like every father, he wanted someone uh, for the next generation. He wanted a child for himself and so on. And one fine day, what happened is this Atmadeva, he goes to the forest, and there it seems that there was a nearby water body also. From there, he was about to drink water. That's when, after one muhurtam, now what exactly is a muhurtam is a time of 48 minutes. Yeah. So this muhurtam is a time period. Srimad Bhagavatam gives in detail description about various time periods that are there. Like we have second, millimeter, centimeter, and so on. So many measurements, right? So like this, one muhurta is a period of 48 minutes. That's when a sannyasi, a sage, comes there and he asks the Brahmana, what happened? Why are you so, you're about to drink water, but looking at you, I don't feel that you're that good, or so maybe you're distressed, some kind of worry is there. That's when, and Atmadeva was almost weeping, he was crying. That's when the sannyasi, he asked, and immediately Atmadeva, whatever was his grief, he told. And he said that, I don't know what happens, but whatever offerings I do, everything I do, nothing is reaching the Lord also. And that's when I don't feel like living anymore. And what year, a verse that is there is verse number 29. Digjeevitam prajahinam digriham cha prajam vina digdanam cha anapatyasa dikkulam santatim vina. He says, without a child also, everything is useless. There is no amount to my wealth, nothing to my house, this, that, everything. So everything is useless, right? I have enough of wealth, I have knowledge, everything is there. I have a good house, I have a wife. But if there are no children also, I feel very much distressed. uh, that's when, and he says that the same thing is happening not only to me, but even to the cow also, who's there along with me. She is also not providing proper milk. The trees or plants that are there in my house, they are also turning out to be dry. They are also not bearing fruits. So everything around me is is seems to be very, very gloomy. So I don't know why all such things are happening. That's when the Brahmana spoke to him and said that you give up. Whatever happens, you focus on your karma. You give up this sorrow and grief that is there. Things will happen only at the right time. If you keep on thinking about this, then nothing is going to happen. So what you do, what don't keep on worrying about all such things. And now the sannyasi was a person who was like, he knew, he could know about the past or things like that. That's when the sannyasi tells his Brahmana Atmadeva that for 7 janmas also you will not have a son at all. And this is not only for you. In the past also there were many kings like Sagara, Anga, and so on. Sagara, the ancestor of Rama, Anga Desh Raja. Anga, they also had to suffer a lot because of not having a son. Therefore, you give up this hope of having a family and you take up one thing, you take up sannyasa. Now the Brahmana said that all this is there, but still you help me to get a son, because I need a son somehow, because this is something which is already is there in my mind, and without that now I cannot survive. That's when, and he says that I also want to enjoy seeing my grandsons, is that, so he was caught in that. So the sage said, okay, I will help you. And here now again, this sage, he gives a warning to Atmadeva, saying that you will not be happy if a son is born to you. If today a child is not being born, there will be some reason behind it. Of course, later we know how Dundukari was born and so on. But still, if you're so insistent that you want a son also, then what should I do? I will help you somehow. Now that's when the sannyasi said that I'll give you a fruit also, like most of us we do. Given Dasharatha did a putra kameshti yagam, the payasa that comes, he distributes it amongst the wives, and that helps them to conceive easily. The same thing happens here. So it's not like a magical fruit or so the wife will eat and then suddenly a child is born. Just helps in uh, helps for a child to be born. So like this sage also, he gives a fruit to this Brahmana Atmadeva and tells that you give your wife this fruit, she will then give birth to a son also. But for this, for 1 year, your wife should practice all kinds of good qualities also. And she should have light meals. She should have meals one time a day, that is cereals, is that, and so on. By doing all this, she will get a very good son, a sinless son, that is there, a very great son, and so on. Having said so, now this Brahmana was very happy. He returns back home. He tells everything to his wife, gives it to Dunduli, and so on. Now this Dunduli, who was just like we saw, she was a very crooked lady. She did not tell anything directly to Atmadeva, but she goes and tells her friends. Taruni kutira tasya sakhyagre charurodaha aho chinta mamotpanna phalam chaham na bhakshaye phalabhakshena garbhasya garbhenodara viddita. She tells, I will like to carry a child in my garbham. My garbham, that is womb, will become very big also. I will not be able to eat. It will make me very weak, this, that, and so on. And like this, if something happens, like if I'm not able to deliver properly, like of course there are so many other issues that come in. What if the child is not born properly? So I don't want. And moreover, तिर्यक्षेदागतौ गर्भः तदा मे मरणं भवेत् प्रसूतौ दारुणौ दुःखं sukumari katham sahe. Young lady like me, sukumari katham sahe, how will I suffer the pangs of prasuti vedana, childbirth? So therefore I cannot do all such things. But still, I cannot tell anything to my husband, Atmadeva. I will do one thing. Let me think of something. And then that's when she discusses the same with her friends also. And that's when she makes the statement that lalane palane dukkham prasutayashcha vartate vandhya va vidava nari sukhini cheti me matihi. Dunduli, she tells that a woman who has to give birth to a child, she has to suffer a lot. Prasutayascha vartate dukkham. And she tells, Vandhyava vidava nari. Happy is that woman who does not give birth to a child also, or one vidava who has lost her husband, so that she does not get into all this. So Dunduli was a wicked lady. She had such thoughts coming in her mind, and she did not eat the fruit. But Atmadeva, he was eagerly waiting, right? So he kept on asking, did you consume the fruit, and so on? And she replied that she had. One fine day, what happened is the sister of Dunduli comes to her house, and this Dunduli tells everything to her sister. And she tells now what to do. Tomorrow he will ask, right? What happened, and so on. And that's when the sister who was there, she replied saying that I am anyways in the family way. So now if a child is born to me, I will give that to you. Now the sister also is somewhat similar to Dunduli's nature. She was very eagerly ready to give her own child to her sister Dunduli. And that's when, till then, she tells, Dunduli's sister gives an idea that till that time you pretend as if you are about to conceive, you are pregnant also, and you stay in the house nicely, comfortably. Now here also she was very, very smart sister. What she tells was, Tavat kalam sagarbheva gupta tishtagrihe sukham. You act as if you are about to give birth to a child and you live happily in your house. Vittam tvam matpateryacha satedasyadi balakam. And meanwhile, you give some money. Vittam tam matpateryacha. Give some money to my husband and he will give back the child to you. So the human trafficking, things like that, which we see today, was there from those times only. And now, what to tell about people who will ask later, Shanmasiko Mrito Bhada iti loko vadishyati. To people who will ask about my child, I will say that it has died in 6 months and so on. So, all this plan they start making. And in this time, what happens is, Dunduli, who was there, she gives a fruit to the cow who was there in their house. And all such things happen. Now, in the course of time, a child was born to Dunduli's sister. And as told, that sister's husband, he bought the child, gave it to Dunduli, she gave some money to him, and so on. And everyone was happy. Atmadeva was also very happy that a child had been born to him. Jatakarmadi samskaras were done. A lot of dana dharmam was done to the brahmanas. A lot of musical instruments were played. So it was a celebration. From so many years or so, a child was being born. Now Dunduli, she told her husband that I don't have any milk or so therefore I cannot give the child. How will milk come, right? She has not given birth to the child at all. So that's when she tells that I will tell my sister to do, because recently she has given birth to a child, but the child has passed away also. Now, Atmadeva, he was not into that state only of, uh, you can say, listening to what Dundiri was saying and believing all that. He just blindly believed because he was very happy that a child was born to him. Now, the mother who was there, Dunduri, she named the child who was born to her as Dundukari. This was how the evil child was born. Now, 3 months later, the cow who had consumed the fruit, it also ended up giving birth to a child, and it was a human child, but only the ears that were there were like a cow. Now, how such things are possible is because the fruit that was given was meant for Atmadeva. It is a very, very simple thing. Like, you have a certain disease also. For that, the doctor who said he prescribes a certain medicine. But if you don't have that disease, for a particular disease, if you eat some other disease medicine, is going to have some other effects, right? So similarly here also, what is not meant to consume also, that obviously the reaction is going to be something else. So whenever we read such things, it's not that we should not think it's magic. Yeah. Now again, this child was born. Now Atmadeva, he became very happy that even to a cow also such a child is being born. So it is nothing but the grace of the sannyasi and the Lord only. Now seeing that the years of the child were like a cow, Atmadeva named the child as Gokarna. Further, now both the boys who were there, Dundukari, Gokarna, they grew up together. Gokarna was very much learned, wise, while Dundukari went on the wicked path. He was causing a lot of trouble to everyone. He used to get angry, all kinds of evil things. He used to end up throwing people in the well, children in the well, and so on. So, like this, all kinds of things he used to do. And somehow what happened is he went on the wrong path only, and to this extent that he used to even ekada pitarau tadya patrani swayamaharat, he ended up even stealing, or you can say taking away the vessels, the utensils that were there in the house. So that was amount of, they used to take that, sell it somewhere, bring something, and again use that for all kinds of evil things. So this way a very evil character. Now thus all the property that was there, everything was sold by that Dundukari. Now Atmadeva, he began to wait, and now he says that क्व तिष्ठामि क्व गच्छामि को मे दुःखं व्यपोहयेत् प्राणां त्यजामि दुःखेन हा कष्टं मम संस्थितं वन्ध्यत्वं तु समीचीनं कुपुत्रो दुःखदायकः. Now he regrets and says that it is better that a child, it was better that I did not have a child rather than having such an evil child. And that's when, where should I live, what should I do, and so on, because he had lost everything. That's when Gokarna arrives there, and Gokarna tries to open his father's eyes and says that you don't have to worry about things. This is the reason why things did not happen to you. Still, forcefully, somehow, you told the sannyasi blessed you, and so on. But still, now that things have happened, you don't have to worry about all this, because this son, this wealth, nothing belongs to you. Everything is temporary. One fine day it's going to go. You ultimately don't get overly attached to things. You just focus on the ultimate happiness. You give up that this Dundukari is your son only, because this body also one fine day is going to die. So therefore, now most of your life you have spent thinking that I don't have a child, I don't have a child. Now that a child is born, now you're spending your life thinking that why this child is born. So now a lot of time you have wasted in this. Now what you do is, now you please take a vanaprastha or sannyasashrama. Now here, this Atmadeva who was there, he questions Gokarna and tells that, what should I do in the forest? I I'm a fool also, I have a lot of affection, I'm bound by affection, so what should I do? That's when Gokarna tells that you give up all this feeling, you don't get attached to things, you just give up the attachment that you have with Dunduri and so on, and you just remember the Lord, you abandon everything, you wait for sannyasis, or you can say for sages also, to come to guide you on the right path. And once you do all this, you initially start by chanting the names of the Lord, listening to his stories also. So therefore, you will always lead a happy life. Now, here does it mean that we have to give up everything and go? Point is not so. Gokarna gives this advice to Atmadeva that family life or all kinds of worries or so, everything will be there, but over attachment to things, like you're forcefully telling that no child should be born to me. Of course, he did not know that such things will happen, but over attachment to things can bring about one's own downfall. This Gokarna story, Gokarna Atmadeva story relates to this. And finally, Gokarna says, Evam sutokti vashatopi griham vihaya jato vanam siramatirgata shashti varshaha yukto hareranudinam paricharyaya sau Shri Krishnamapaniyatam dashamasya pathat. Finally, as told by his son Gokarna, Atmadeva goes to the forest. He had almost crossed 60, but still he was a man of firm, you can say, stiramati, firm mind, and day and night he engaged himself in the service of Lord Hari. And by chanting the Dashamaskandam of Srimad Bhagavatam, he attained Krishna Mahapasharanam. That's when he attained Lord Krishna. With this, the story of Atmadeva comes to an end. Yeah, so